John in Mays Landing, New Jersey.
Hey, Alan. I really can't believe how disingenuous you can be with some of your comments.
You know, John, you were so nice to me the last time you called me.
I was trying to be nice to you. Then the next night you turned around and you said, "Oh, well, it was all taken out of context, Alan." And you know
what was taken out of context?
Your comment about Santorum. That's what I called you about, and I was calling you to say I was thanking you for calling him and actually apologizing.
Right.
And then the next night you turned around and said, "Oh, it was all taken out of context."
No, I never said that. I stood by my apology. No, I didn't.
The next night you did. The next
I stand
night
I stand by my apology to Rick Santorum, in which he gracefully accepted.
You did, but then the next night you changed what you said.
No, I didn't.
Regardless, yes, you did.
Well,
Alan,
regardless. But I did. No, I didn't. Yes, you did. No, I didn't.
Then a person calls you the other night and talks to you about voter fraud, and you said, "Oh, there's no voter fraud."
Yeah, well, there's very little of it.
In Troy, New York,
it's another phony issue.
In Troy, New York, yesterday, 8 Democrats have been indicted for voter fraud, 5 being on city council.
So don't tell me I didn't say there was no voter fraud. What I said was
you make it sound like
what I said was a number of studies have shown, and including the Republican Lawyer Association, including the Brennan School at NYU, that the number of convictions for voter fraud overall, compared to the number of people who vote, is minuscule. It's a phony issue. It's another phony issue Republicans are cooking up. The percentage of voter fraud is minuscule. Voter fraud is not a serious issue in this country.
So if it comes down to several thousands of votes, do you think that's enough for voter fraud?
The question is not whether it comes down to several.
If it's several thousand votes.
You're taking the issue and twisting it. The question is whether or not voter fraud is as broad an issue. It's a problem. It's a solution in search of a problem. There is no problem. It is not a major issue. It is not a major issue.
Having an ID is not a problem. Now, you make a bigger issue out of having an ID.
Republicans.
Because the government said that they would provide anybody who doesn't have an ID, they would provide it for free.
That's not true. In order to get the ID that they claim they're providing for free, you have to provide a birth certificate, or you have to provide other documentation, which you call. Excuse me, John. I'm not done. In order to get that so-called free ID, you've got to provide other documentation that costs money to get that some people can't afford.
Well, like a birth certificate, Alan?
Whatever it is. A lot of older people don't have their birth certificate.
Oh, come on, Alan. You know what? See, that's what I'm talking about.
This is a phony issue, John. It's a phony issue. Phony issue. Phony issue.
No, it's not.
Phony issue. Phony issue. Phony issue.
Somebody calls you with facts. That's how you do.
No, I'm giving you the facts. You don't like them. I'm sorry they're inconvenient.
Alan, just the other day.
I have to talk over you because you never shut the hell up.
Just a minute ago, you told somebody that Ron Williams brought up the NAACP with the question to Newt Gingrich. That's a lie.
He brought up the issue of food stamps. He alluded to other things that Gingrich had said.
Alan, you just said to the person before me that the NAACP was part of the question that Ron Williams.
Well, he was alluding to the things Gingrich had said.
No, he's alluding to it. See, now this is what
you're going to have a heart. You're going to have a heart attack, John. I'm worried about your health.
You're the one who has a heart attack. You talk over people.
Okay. Well, I can't. I have to talk over you. You never shut up. If you would take a breath, we could have a two-way conversation.
This is a two-way street, but you don't seem to like it when I'm.
Let me know when you're done, okay?
Well, see, that's cute, Alan. That's very cute. But the problem is that you whitewashing things, and you always skew things to make your point and to make yourself right. But the problem is the facts prove you wrong. And if the people out there, it's one, the person who called earlier also, who says, "Oh, what does Gingrich want to be, a dictator?" I'm sorry. Who was the president who stood in Congress and looked at the Supreme Court while he was sitting there doing the State of the Union and questioned their authority? Who was that? Was that Barack Obama? Yes, it was. So stop questioning things like that, Alan. You're a joke. You're talking about all the czars this guy points out. This guy's pointed more czars than anybody. But do you bring that up? No. Who wants to centralize government, Barack Obama or Congress? Barack Obama has given the EPA more power. They can do more things. Congress can't even stop them. They can regulate dust now. That's great. Every part of my life is going to be regulated by the federal government, Alan. And you don't seem to bother you because you don't have children. You don't have a house. You don't have a car. You don't own anything. So what do you have any problem with other people taking stuff from people like me, hard-working people out here who start a business because I make over $250,000 a year and I earned it? You think somehow you have a right to more than 10% of that? Somehow, I want to know how you think you have a right to take money out of my pocket and give it to somebody who doesn't get off their ass and earn it themselves.
I'm so glad that we could have this two-way conversation.
You're a joke, Alan. You're such a joke. Even on radio, you even said before you're a subpar talk show host. That's what you are. That's what you will always be. You don't want to aspire to be anything better.
Yeah.
God forbid you actually aspire to be something more than that, and maybe make $1 million a year. You don't want to make $1 million a year, Alan? Bad? Is it bad to be a capitalist? Because it seems like you're a capitalist when it comes to you, but for everybody else, you tend to be on programs. You're happy with programs for everybody else. But socialism's for the people, not the socialists, Alan.
I'm not interrupting you. Otherwise, I'd be interruptive. I mean, if I were to talk at any point during this conversation, I'd be interrupting you, and you're so brief and to the point in your comments. I'm so glad we could, again, have this wonderful two-way conversation. Thank you, John, so much for calling me this evening.
Are you done?
Yes, and so are you. We'll be back at 877-367-2526.